Dawn arrives slowly over the city. A thin mist clings to the surface of the Arno River. The water moves with quiet purpose, reflecting the pale light of a rising sun. The streets are still. Wooden shutters remain closed. The echo of footsteps has not yet begun. For a brief moment, Florence breathes in silence. Then, a bell. It rings from a tower that dominates the skyline, the Palazzo Vecchio. The sound travels across stone walls and narrow streets, over rooftops of terracotta tiles, into courtyards and workshops. It is a signal. The day has begun. Imagine standing here in Florence in the year 1490. The city is not large by modern standards. Perhaps 50 to 60,000 people live within its walls. But what it lacks in size, it holds in intensity. Every street, every square, carries the weight of ambition. This is a place where ideas are traded as fiercely as goods. A place where art is not decoration, but identity. Look around. The streets are narrow, paved with uneven stone. Buildings rise close together, their upper floors leaning slightly inward, as if whispering across the street. Laundry hangs between windows. A faint smell of wood smoke lingers in the air, mixed with the scent of leather, dye, and fresh bread. As the light grows stronger, the city awakens. A merchant unlocks his shop. A baker carries trays of bread still warm from the oven. Apprentices hurry through the streets, their hands already stained with pigment or dust. Women gather water from public fountains, speaking in low, familiar tones. Life begins not with urgency, but with rhythm. Florence in 1490 is a republic, but its soul is shaped by a family. The Medici. For decades, they have guided the city, not always officially, but always decisively. Their wealth comes from banking, their influence from careful alliances. Under their quiet control, Florence has become something rare, a place where power and creativity grow together. At the center of this moment stands Lorenzo de' Medici. He is not a king. He does not wear a crown. Yet his presence is felt in every corner of the city. A patron of artists, a supporter of scholars, a diplomat among rivals, Lorenzo shapes Florence not through force, but through vision. Walk through the streets and you will see the result. Workshops line the roads. Inside them, something new is taking form. Painters grind minerals into fine powders to create color, lapis lazuli for deep blue, ochre for warm earth tones. Sculptors study blocks of marble, searching for the figure hidden within. Architects sketch plans that balance beauty with precision. This is the Renaissance, not a sudden event, but a quiet transformation. In Florence, art is changing. No longer bound only to religious symbols, artists begin to study the human form with new attention. Muscles, expressions, movement, these details matter now. The body is not just a vessel, but a subject worthy of understanding. In a workshop not far from the cathedral, a young artist leans over a drawing. His hand moves carefully, tracing the curve of a shoulder, the angle of a face. He studies anatomy not as a mystery, but as a structure. His name is Leonardo. Nearby, another apprentice watches closely, absorbing every lesson. He is quieter, more reserved, but his focus is unbroken. Years later, his work will define an era. His name is Michelangelo. They are not yet legends. They are students. But Florence is full of such beginnings. Now lift your gaze above the streets. The cathedral, Santa Maria del Fiore, dominates the skyline. Its massive dome, engineered by Filippo Brunelleschi decades earlier, stands as a symbol of what this city has achieved. It is not just a place of worship. It is a statement. The dome rises without external support, a bold solution to a problem that once seemed impossible. Its presence reminds every citizen that limits can be overcome with thought and determination. Around it, the city expands. Guilds organize trade and craft. Each profession has its own identity, its own rules, its own pride. The Wool Guild, the Silk Guild, the bankers, these groups shape not only the economy, but the politics of Florence. Decisions are made through councils, debates, and negotiations. But beneath this structure, tension remains. Florence is wealthy, but not stable. Rival families compete for influence. External powers watch closely. The balance of control is delicate, maintained through careful diplomacy and occasional conflict. Even within the city, voices begin to shift. Some praise the beauty and progress of the Renaissance. Others question it. They see luxury, excess, and a drift away from spiritual values. These tensions are quiet now, but they are growing. Return to the streets. By mid-morning, Florence is alive with movement. Horses pull carts loaded with goods. Traders call out their offers. The sound of hammers echoes from construction sites. Cloth is measured, weighed, and sold. Goldsmiths shape delicate pieces with steady hands. The marketplace is the heart of daily life. Here, news travels quickly. A rumor, a political change, a distant conflict, all pass through this space. People gather not only to buy and sell, but to listen, to observe, to understand the world beyond the city walls. Food is simple but essential. Bread, olives, wine, and vegetables form the core of most meals. Meat is less common, reserved for those with greater means. Yet even in modest homes, there is a sense of care. Meals are shared, conversations are held, and the rhythm of life continues. Step into a home. The interior is dim, lit by small windows and candles. Furniture is minimal. A table, a few chairs, perhaps a chest for storage. Walls may be decorated with simple paintings or religious images. Life here is practical but not without warmth. Children learn early. Some are sent to apprenticeships where they will master a trade. Others remain within the household, contributing to daily tasks. Education is growing in importance, especially among the wealthy. Knowledge is no longer confined to monasteries. It is becoming part of civic life. Books are copied, studied, and discussed. The rediscovery of ancient texts from Greece and Rome has changed how people think. Philosophy, science, and literature are explored with new curiosity. Humanism, the belief in the value of human potential, begins to shape thought. Florence becomes a place of questions. What is beauty? What is knowledge? What is the role of man in the world? These are not abstract ideas. They influence art, architecture, and daily decisions. They guide how buildings are designed, how paintings are composed, how leaders govern. Now move toward the river. The Arno flows steadily, dividing the city but also connecting it. Bridges cross its surface, lined with shops and activity. The Ponte Vecchio stands out, a bridge not only for passage, but for commerce. Goldsmiths and jewelers display their work, attracting both locals and visitors. The river is essential. It provides water, supports trade, and shapes the geography of Florence. Yet it also carries risk. Floods are not uncommon, and the city must adapt to its presence. As the day continues, shadows shift. The sun moves higher, casting light across the cathedral, the palaces, the narrow streets. Workers pause briefly for rest. Conversations deepen. The pace slows, then resumes. In the distance, church bells ring again. They mark time, structure the day, and remind the people of something larger than themselves. Religion remains central to life. Churches are not only places of worship, but centers of community and influence. Clergy hold authority, but they are also part of the changing world. Some embrace new ideas. Others resist them. The relationship between faith and innovation is complex, often uneasy. As afternoon approaches, the light softens. Artists return to their work. Merchants review their accounts. Children play in small open spaces, their laughter echoing against stone walls. Life continues with quiet persistence. Yet beneath this calm surface, Florence stands at a turning point. The Renaissance is not complete. It is unfolding, shaped by every decision, every creation, every debate. The city is both a stage and a participant in this transformation. And at its center, the question remains, what will Florence become? For now, it is a city of balance between past and future, faith and reason, power and creativity. A place where the ordinary and the extraordinary exist side by side. As the sun begins its descent, the light turns golden. It touches the dome, the rooftops, the river. It reveals the texture of stone, the movement of people, the quiet details of daily life. For a moment, everything seems still again. But the city does not rest for long, because in Florence, even a single day carries the weight of history. And tomorrow it will begin again. Evening approaches with a quiet shift. The sunlight softens into gold, then amber. Long shadows stretch across the narrow streets, touching doorways and market stalls now beginning to close. The energy of the day does not vanish, but it changes. Florence slows, yet it does not sleep. Stand once more beside the Arno River. The water reflects a darker sky now, broken by flickers of torchlight along the bridges. The Ponte Vecchio remains active, though the voices are lower, more deliberate. Goldsmiths finish their work with careful precision, locking away pieces that represent weeks, sometimes months, of labor. Wealth here is not only counted, it is crafted. Listen closely. You can hear fragments of conversation drifting across the bridge. Merchants discuss trade routes. Travelers share news from distant cities, Milan, Venice, Rome. There are whispers of shifting alliances, of tensions between powers that lie beyond Florence's walls. The city may appear self-contained, but it is deeply connected to the wider world. Florence thrives because it listens. Now move away from the river and into the heart of the city. Torches are being lit along the streets. Their light dances against stone walls, creating a rhythm of brightness and shadow. Shops close their shutters. Wooden doors are secured. But in many homes, the evening is just beginning. Inside a modest household, a family gathers around a table. The meal is simple bread, a small portion of cheese, perhaps a stew of vegetables. Wine is poured sparingly. There is conversation, not hurried, but thoughtful. The day is discussed. News is shared. Small concerns are voiced, and small joys are remembered. These moments are quiet yet essential. Florence is not only defined by its grand achievements, but by these daily rituals. They create continuity in a city that is constantly changing. Now step into a different space. A larger home, belonging to a merchant family. The interior is more refined. Walls are decorated with painted panels. A carved chest stands near the wall, filled with fabrics imported from distant lands. Here, wealth is visible, but it is also controlled. Displayed carefully, never carelessly. Guests are present. They speak of business, but also of ideas. A poem is recited. A philosophical question is raised. The conversation moves between commerce and culture with ease. This is the nature of Florence in 1490. Trade and thought are not separate, they are intertwined. And beyond these homes, another kind of gathering takes place. In a dimly lit workshop, artists remain at work. The day's light is gone, but the process continues. Candles illuminate unfinished canvases and marble forms. There is a sense of urgency, not driven by time alone, but by purpose. These artists are not only completing commissions, they are exploring something deeper. Look at one canvas. A figure emerges from shadow, its expression detailed, almost alive. The artist studies the play of light on the human face, the subtle shift between emotion and stillness. This is not symbolic work alone. It is observational. It seeks truth in form. Nearby, a sculptor runs his hand across a block of marble. He pauses as if listening. The stone holds potential, but it must be understood. Each strike of the chisel is deliberate. There is no room for haste. In Florence, creation is an act of patience. These workshops are more than places of labor. They are places of learning. Apprentices observe every movement, every decision. Knowledge is passed not through instruction alone, but through repetition, correction, and time. The Renaissance grows not only from great minds, but from careful hands. Now, shift your attention to the political center. The Palazzo Vecchio stands firm against the evening sky. Its tower is a constant presence, visible from many parts of the city. Inside, discussions continue. Florence is governed by councils, but influence flows through quieter channels. The legacy of the Medici still shapes these decisions. Lorenzo de' Medici remains a central figure, though his health has begun to decline. His absence from certain public moments is noticed. There is respect for what he has built, but also uncertainty about what will follow. Power in Florence is never static. Rival families observe closely. Some wait patiently. Others act with subtle intention. Alliances are formed, then adjusted. Every decision carries weight because the balance is fragile. And beyond politics, another voice begins to rise. A voice of warning. In the city's churches, sermons grow more intense. Some clergy speak not of harmony, but of correction. They question the direction of Florence, the wealth, the art, the focus on human achievement. They ask whether something essential is being lost. These words do not yet dominate, but they are heard. They move through the city quietly, carried in conversations, repeated in private spaces. Florence, for all its confidence, is not without doubt. Return now to the streets. Night has settled fully. The sky is dark, with only a few stars visible above the rooftops. The city is lit by scattered torches and the soft glow from windows. Movement continues, but it is more measured. Guards patrol the streets. They walk in pairs, watching, listening. Their presence is both protective and symbolic. Order must be maintained. Florence is a place of ideas, but it is also a place of rules. In certain areas, activity remains lively. Taverns are open. Inside, the atmosphere is different. There is laughter, louder voices, the sound of cups being placed on wooden tables. Workers gather after long days. Stories are told, sometimes exaggerated, sometimes not. Music may be played softly in the background. These spaces offer release. But even here, the tone is not chaotic. Florence carries a sense of awareness, even in its moments of ease. People understand their place within a larger system, a larger story. Now step outside the city walls. The countryside stretches into darkness. Fields lie quiet, awaiting the next day's work. Small farms surround Florence, supporting its population. The relationship between city and land is constant. Without one, the other cannot exist. Yet the difference is clear. Inside the walls, ideas shape life. Outside, survival depends on the rhythm of nature. Both worlds are connected, but they move at different speeds. Return once more to the city center. The cathedral stands in silence now. Santa Maria del Fiore, so dominant in daylight, becomes something more reflective at night. Its massive dome fades into shadow, yet its presence remains. It is a reminder of what Florence has achieved, and what it believes it can achieve again. But time does not pause. The year is still 1490, and change is already approaching. Within 2 years, Lorenzo de' Medici will be gone. His absence will alter the balance of the city. The careful harmony he maintained will begin to unravel. New voices will rise, some calling for reform, others for control. Florence will not collapse, but it will transform. The art will continue. The ideas will deepen, yet the tone will shift. The confidence of this moment, the quiet certainty that progress and beauty can exist together, will be tested. And still, life will go on. Because Florence is not defined by a single leader or a single moment. It is shaped by generations, by countless individuals who contribute in ways both visible and unseen. Look again at the streets. A final passerby moves quickly, heading home. A window closes. A candle is extinguished. The sounds of the city fade, one by one. Silence returns, but it is not the same silence as before. It carries the memory of the day. The voices, the work, the questions, the ambitions. All of it remains, held within the walls, the stones, the air itself. This is Florence in 1490, a city at the height of its creative power. A place where art and life are inseparable. Where every street holds a story, and every story is part of something larger. It is not perfect. It is not at peace. But it is alive in a way few places have ever been. And as the night deepens, one truth becomes clear. The Renaissance is not just an era. It is a way of seeing the world. A belief that beauty matters, that knowledge matters, that human effort can shape something lasting. Florence holds that belief now in this moment. And though time will move forward, carrying the city into uncertainty, conflict, and change, this moment will remain, quietly, enduring, like the first light over the Arno, waiting to return again.